Right, Jason Laughland, this is the assessment video of your gearbox. I managed to get it sorted this afternoon actually. I got rained off on the project I was doing. So, here's what I found. Your gearbox, as you told me, was making a lot of noise. So anyway, this is your reverse idler that came out with it. And bearing in mind that this is the later gearbox, a 79 gearbox you told me, it is a reverse idler with the thicker teeth. So this is the stronger gearbox, and somebody's managed to mash this up pretty good. You can see that tooth there is pretty well shot. So that's a scrap idler, there's no doubt about that at all. Now, I was surprised to find that although like you remember I told you it's usually damage to the weaker steel, the idlers are very strong, and I'm surprised it hasn't made a mess of the lay gear, but it hasn't. The lay gear is good. This is the 13 tooth lay gear, by the way. This is the stronger gearbox fitted to the very later model cars, and it was simply to protect the wear and broken teeth that was happening on the smaller tooth lay gear. So you can see it's made quite a mess of the reverse idler. Now that in itself wasn't the initial cause of the problem. Initially what started the whole ball rolling was the first and second synchro. Now what happens is, over time, the springs in the first and second synchro hub, which also incorporates the reverse, because the reverse runs when it's in reverse, it's a constant mesh. This is always turning. This is always turning with the gearbox, and the idler then gets pushed across. When you select reverse gear, the idler gets pushed across into that position there and drives onto the lay gear. So what happens with these gearboxes is the springs in the first and second gear synchro hub, they get brittle and they break, and it's always because on a morning when you start your engine up, these gearboxes are cold and people push them into gear. They're not as modern as obviously the latest gearboxes, and you can see that is a normal spring out of your gearbox, first and second gear synchro hub. And this is, I find this so often, and what I'll find is it'll be difficult to get in and out of first gear. It'll pop out of first gear, and these springs over time get brittle. So you've got one spring in you've got that spring in 3 pieces, and you've got that spring in 3 pieces. So that was absolutely useless. That would have not been staying in gear very much. If you'd have accelerated, it would have popped out of gear. And then when that starts doing that, it starts making it jump into the reverse idler, and because they're so close together, the reverse idler sits something like there, and of course when you're driving and pushing it into gear, because it's jumping out of gear, the gears sit so close together there. The first gear and reverse gear sorry, it's that way around. The first gear and reverse gear sitting so close together like so, and then this meshes up with that gear. When you put it in reverse, it slides this over onto this lay gear, and it slides it over, and it's been catching there. As it's been jumping out of gear, it's been hitting the reverse because it's been popping back. It's been catching the reverse gear, and it's been chipping little bits of teeth off this reverse gear. They've been getting meshed up, turned into like a mash and mush, and you can see where it's worn that away. And this is the magnet that collects all that detritus, and you can see all that filings is what should have been. In fact, there's some bits of teeth in there, look. There's a piece of tooth right there. These are all out of your gearbox. Oh, just jump back in. So the magnet does a good job. And there's some more bits of broken teeth, look, stuck to the magnet, and that's what's happened. And then of course the wear just gets you know, gets worse and worse as you progress. There's nothing wrong with the rest of the gearing. The gearing's good. The magnet's done a good job. It's picked up all the dross. The synchro hubs are good, as are the gears. There's not a problem with the gears, and there never is, to be fair. Your main problems, as soon as your midget starts jumping out of gear, or it won't go in gear, it's difficult to get it back into gear. It's because these springs are broken, and it's a cheaper remedy to fix it at that stage than let it just continually get worse and worse and worse. So that's the root of your problem, and that goes the same for all these gearboxes. This is the stronger gearbox from a later car. So it's had a good bit. There's the rest of the springs, and it's had a bit of a hard life towards the end of its use to cause that amount of damage on the stronger lay gear. So that's the assessment of your gearbox, Jason. Thank you very much for your purchase. Don't forget to leave me some positive feedback if you're happy when you've got your gearbox installed, because all my work is sort of word of mouth. So it's always nice to get a few pictures of your car when it's going. So that's your assessment, Jason. Thank you.